time, your gateway to the world. AFR! American Freedom Radio. Give it to them.
Get real and heal. Listen to Christie on Soul Journeys Radio.
All right. Good evening, everyone, and happy Tuesday, or Tuesday, or Tuesday. I know Tobias was asking me just, a show or two ago when I welcome you all for Thursday. He says, well, what the heck do you say the rest of the week? And I think I did say, well, I guess you'll have to find out. So we're going to find out here. I guess we could also call it Martise or RAs, or I don't know. I don't understand all those languages and accents, but happy frickin' Tuesday and welcome. Thank you for joining us here tonight. Soul Journeys Radio on AmericanFreedomRadio.com. And this is really, really weird having Tobias join us here on this day. We've had over 4 years of shows, and every one of them have been on Thursday, so forgive us if we are a little out of sorts, but we had a scheduling issue last week and this week, and since we figured since we missed Thursday last week, we'll get him in here sooner so we can continue everybody's favorite topic about relationships and love and sex and the battle of the sexes. And anyways, so why and how has sex been controlled by the elites to create a slave planet? How does real sexuality melt the identity and clear the fallen ego in us? Will men and women ever meet? And how is sexual energy the most powerful spiritual energy? If you would like to join us on the chat, that's over at souljourneysradio.com. And if for some reason you've missed Tobias in our past shows, he is a personal awakening coach and the author of Listening to the Sun and Awakening Souls. His website is soulcounseling.com, or you can go to courseofawakening.com. But it's so good to start the week off with you tonight. St. Toby, how are you doing tonight?
I love you, Christie. You're so sweet. You're being so nice.
I love you too. It's gentle Toby on Tuesday.
Well, let's see what happens.
No promises, right?
I just drove down the hill, as we call it, from Sedona to Phoenix, and I'm sitting here. I haven't seen Miley and Gabby for a couple of weeks, so it's really fun. I just got here about a half hour ago, and it's really fun to just watch all three of them reunite. We got 9-month-old Gab. We got Mom, who's, I don't know how old she is, 6 maybe, and Bentley's 5. But Gabby's sitting here. She's putting her head in my lap right now. It's so fun. And dogs, feel this. And these dogs got no problems with sex. As soon as they all met each other, even though they know each other, it was all the role play and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And, the butt sniffing and the other part sniffing, all checking all that out. And then it takes like 4 minutes, and they're all good. Now, I do know that the source of the universe has not issued them fornication abilities 24/7, 365. We understand that. They go into heat a couple of times a year, and that's how the universe takes care of it. But us humans have been issued, and I'm sure God is tearing her hair out, going, why did I ever issue humans sexual feelings 24? Maybe we should just allow us twice a year as well, because it's gotten out of control. But we've got to, at some point, evolve up to the task. For those of you that speak Swedish, know what task means. So here we are.
I can
arrest. Yeah, you can. And usually women don't have to pay for it. Nah, see, that's wrong. Now it's like Howard Stern in the room. Get out of here. Get out of here. Andrew Dice Clay, I was watching him this week. What a good guy that he is. He's really trying to help the relationships between men and women. I really, if women listen more to Andrew Dice Clay routines on vaginas, we would have a much healthier planet.
You may have heard this before, Tobias, but didn't he say in one of his little comedic sketches, he posed the question, what is all the skin on the outside of a woman's vagina, or on the outside of a vagina?
Wait, before you say, what is the excess skin? What is the excess
skin? That's right.
Outside of a vagina.
I knew you watched that.
What's the excess skin on the outside of a vagina called?
Thank you.
A woman.
That's right, the excess. You can't leave that out. The excess skin on the outside of a vagina. All right.
Wait. This just in, we have some angry lawyer students in New Zealand making a video. Wait, this just in. We have some angry girls, women in New Zealand making a video in response to blurred lines. Please go on YouTube and check out blurred lines again. But the women's, I know, we're getting out of control here. Here's the thing. This is true, by the way. Women, there's some women in, there's a video out, very popular, Robin Thicke, who's Alan Thicke. Nobody knows who Alan Thicke is, that older guy. His son, and he's made a video.
Growing Pains or something, maybe?
Yeah, Growing Pains. He was the dad.
Yeah. Oh, he was sweet.
Yeah. So his son has made this video called Blurred Lines, which, there's a PG-13 and an R-rated version. It's fun and playful. And then there's a response by some women in New Zealand who do a really good job of it.
Yeah,
I suggest everyone to and I wrote some response to that video. I'm going to get myself in hot water here, I know, by telling you. But let me try to read.
She'll be safe.
Let me try to read what I actually wrote.
I'm scared.
But my point is, if we end up doing the battles of the sexes here, which we need to point out the misogyny, we need to point out the old patriarchy, but if it ends up in battle lines, what is that saying about war? War makes everyone, if you do a limb for a limb, a tooth for a tooth, it makes everybody, handicapped and toothless, and then it's no fun to have sex with anybody. Oh, now I'm in bigger trouble.
You end up as a cheese sandwich.
But the tone of it, if it's anger and I have to get you back, it gets a little, then it's a battle of the sexes. And this is the thing that divides us. I've been saying for a long time, it's God, source, she, he, it is on everyone's side. God doesn't take sides. God is on everyone's side, meaning all the creation, everybody, and everything in the creation is loved by the source or supported by the source. So when it goes into that stance of judgment and anger, whether it's a man that has gotten his kids taken away and he's starting some blog and nonprofit foundation about how evil the bitches are for stealing your kids and not letting you see them, or if it's women starting some foundation or some project about how stupid men are and how horrible they are and all this stuff, then we are adding to, in my opinion, to the battle. Do you want to go to war with Syria right now when Russia and China are on the other side with Assad, the leader of the country, and we're going to go in and support, quote, whatever these are, some Al-Qaeda leftovers or whatever, who knows what's really going on. But the point is, if you want war, what happens? Everybody ends up limbless and toothless and dead. So war, education pointing out, yes, but be careful that the war is not in yourself. Heal the war in yourself first. Gandhi tried to do this. Now I'm going to be spiritually incorrect. He didn't fully do it, or that bullet could not have found him. Now, I know that is so spiritually incorrect what I just said, but I have the right to say it, and that's how I feel and how I see. And I am not claiming that I am not perfectly there yet either, but this principle of mirroring, in other words, if something triggers you, in the other, whether that's the Republicans or Democrats or men and women or Christians and Muslims, if something triggers you in, quote, the other, there's a tradition and schools in the secret societies and these mystical societies throughout the yoga and so forth, throughout the years, Jesus worked with it too, about the other, meaning use the other, mirror, mirror on the wall, what am I really seeing that's in me, the beam in your own eye type thing. This is the first healing, because otherwise you run off, half-cocked or half the other thing, and you go into battle. Battle usually leads to overamped subconscious stuff that ends up actually, really hurting each other. Not a good idea.
Anyways.
Say that again?
Yeah, he wants half a cock anyways.
Exactly. So don't run off half-cocked or half-pussied. Nobody gets to have a good time. So settle down before you, take a minute and look at yourself. And so that's my comment on that video, on those videos are when the battle starts up, about, well, if they can show naked women, we can show semi-naked guys and talk about coming on their faces. All right, good. Do it, but be careful that it doesn't go into battle zone. Battle zone is, again, war. And if you have warlike energy in you, you are directly contributing to the potential of World War III on this planet. Now, there are beings and there are interests that want that. But if you can't find common ground and say, okay, I'm a man, you're a woman, we're really humans. What are we before we are even male or female? We're humans. Before that, we're spirits. Before that, we're just pure consciousness, right? But we are humans. Humans have issues. So instead of going, it's all the men's fault, those stupid misogynistic pigs that make those horrible videos. I can't believe other women would even participate in those things. My God, we need to educate, right? True. But heal thyself first, physician. Heal thyself first, physician. Takes two to tango, two to battle. So this battle of the sexes has gone on for a long time in this quadrant of the universe, not just on Earth, but it's a galactic phenomenon as well. So the principle here of blame it all on the others without ever looking at yourself, good luck with that. It doesn't work, because eventually you have to look at your own stuff. Even if you manage to take over the whole planet, like we did on Mars, we had the whole planet super safe about 5 million years ago. Eventually our super ray guns, our super laser beam type things, they're beyond laser, more like energy beam weapons that were, quote, protecting that planet. And I know this is far out from some of you, but even if you create a homogenized, everyone agrees, one world, we're all one. We're all one. There's no poverty. It's all beautiful. Unless you've actually healed the very soul viruses, the very energies inside yourself that don't let you sleep at night. The princess and the pea, she has one little irritation in her. She has everything. She's a princess. She has everything she wants, any toy, anything she wants. But that little pea, in Hans Christian Andersen's tale, she puts another mattress on there every night, but the 13 mattresses can't let her sleep at night. This is an allegory, of course, for us not being able to rest as souls, to not be still and know that I am, the great I am, is God. And until we do that, no matter how perfectly you rearrange the chairs on the Titanic, meaning fix the world, eliminate poverty, eliminate hunger, save all the population, blah, 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 blah. You're still going to create something like a biological virus, for example, or some evil threat from the outside. See, until you've made peace with your inside, there will always be threats on the outside. So this battle of the sexes is God's source, he, her, the God, goddess, trying to come back together, and as long as the ego wants to be right, prove the other wrong, or have power position, meaning if it's not equal, right? It's only fun when one partner surrenders to the other when we know it's not for real, in a sense. if it's not true, if it's truly coerced, rape is not a good thing. Now people, let's be honest, we're going to be real here tonight. People play with that. They play with tie each other up and stuff like that, and one overpowering the other. That can be fun as long as it's consent. You understand? So, but if there's a true imbalance between the sexes, then that imbalance has to be corrected. So we're in the process of doing that, and the goddess needs to be a little bit careful. This is spoken from me as a man, that she doesn't want to exact revenge on the patriarchy now.
Yeah.
Because revenge, but have the feelings of you effing men, you've effed up the whole planet, you create war wherever you go, you can't even take care of the kids, I have to protect the kids from you. Believe me, I hear this stuff all day long and I understand it. And I agree. We've created bears that the mama bears have to watch out for the male bears because they'll kill the cubs. That's really, humans are one step away from that. Many women don't feel that they can trust their children with their husbands, their fathers. We're one step up from the bears, the lions killing the cubs of the rival pride. I agree. There's many human men that are really just one step up from that. But there's also women who are one step up from that. So we can't broad brush here, and if we buy into the battle of the sexes, if we get, just like a house divided cannot stand. That's what's happened to America. Every last election now, you've got 50.3% that beat, if it's 52%, it's called a landslide. Really? 52 out of 100 people versus 48? That's pretty much evenly divided.
That's right, Tobias. I'm so sorry. Hang on. It is that time. We're going to be right back. Stay tuned. SoulJourneysRadio.com.
It's time to get real and heal. MyTrueEssence.net would like to tell you about Modifilan brown seaweed extract. It's composed of an elementally rich seaweed called laminaria. It takes 40 pounds of laminaria to make just 1 pound of Modifilan. There's nothing else like Modifilan. It is the richest in alginate, fucoidin, organic iodine, and lamarian. Alginates are the most effective organic element in nature that enable the body to rid itself of heavy metals, radioactive elements, and toxins. Fucoidin is an extremely effective anti-cancer substance found abundantly in brown seaweed. Organic iodine is the greatest protection for the thyroid offered by nature. Laminarin aids in the prevention and treatment of cardiovascular disease. Go to www.mytrueessence.net and click the Modifilan banner to get started on your path to rich health today. Also check out the Healing Shop for proven essential oils, medicinal teas, and even health coaching. It's time to get real and heal. Go to www.mytrueessence.net.
Get real and heal. Listen to Christie on Soul Journeys Radio.
No rules. No rules. No taboo topics. No taboo topics. No fear of doom. No fear of doom. We are American Freedom Radio. American Freedom Radio.
All right, welcome back, and thanks for joining us here tonight, September 3, 2013, and I do realize this is the first Tuesday of the month, so some of you may be wondering where Heather Rhodes of GardeningKnowHow.com is, and her and Tobias switched, so she will be joining us on Thursday, so yeah, I know it's that time in your garden. You need to figure out what to do with your harvest and bounty and all of that fun stuff. So that will be Thursday. But tonight we are continuing the discussion. Are real-ationships possible? This is part 2 with Tobias Lars. He is a personal awakening coach and the author of one of my favorite books, Listening to the Sun and Awakening Souls. Yeah, Gabby, come on. Down, girl. We're trying to do a show here. Come on.
I was muted.
Okay, soulcounseling.com. All right, back to the topic here. How is our sweet little Gabby, by the way? I miss that girl. She gives good hugs.
She does. I just want to keep her in the room here, because if she wanders off by herself, she's like a kid. She'll find a bunch of stuff to chew and drag out into the middle of the floor. But so I'm keeping her. They're all here with me. They're all right under my feet. My desks. I'm loving it. It's so sweet. So if you hear any yelping, me correcting, I apologize. Joy will be home in about 40 minutes.
Gabby will be a good girl. All right. So, yeah, are real relationships possible?
They are, but on the planet today, basically we are sandpapering each other instead of, the enjoyable friction. This is not so enjoyable. The soul friction, the mind friction, the learning friction. We are learning through friction. And most of it is through pain. Divorce is, horrible, painful, or emotional betrayal, heartbreak, this kind of stuff. These are the harsh wake-up calls that for the vast majority of us, this is how we're learning to open our hearts and to open our feelings, emotions, get real, be able to be vulnerable with another person. That's the scariest thing possible. In our classes for A Course of Awakening, I'll often talk about, I'll joke, they'll say, who here has a relationship? And, because lots of people nowadays, they are living alone, or not having relationships because they can't put up with the drama, trauma, and karma anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
So I joke about it. I'll say, what's wrong with you if you don't have, those who don't have relationships, I'll go, what's wrong with you, you wimps?
I used to think, well, what's wrong with you, you wussy?
Yeah. And then, so it is difficult because we are bringing different approaches to it, different tonalities. And then that seduction, like we talked about in the beginning, is to go, oh, men, idiot, insensitive, burping couches, give them their football and, they're so easy to please and you can fake your orgasm with them. Can they really be that stupid, men? A lot of women, there's a hatred. I was watching a video called After Porn where they interviewed a bunch of ex-porn stars or ones that couldn't do it anymore and what their lives were like now. And one of the women, who was apparently some very famous porn star at one point, said you could feel the hatred in her voice as she said, I used to get comments from men that would say that they loved me because they could tell it was real for me and I wasn't faking it. And I was faking it the whole time. And you could feel this disdain, disgust for how stupid can men be. Right? So so all this exists. We have this anger at each other in many, many different forms. And we aren't sensitive. We can't feel whether there's an orgasm happening or not, for a lot of us. And so it's the forgiveness here. It's the being venture. The real courage is to venture into these places and go, I am screwed up, or I haven't had, I have issues with my past, with my sexuality and so forth. Pretending we don't because we don't want to look stupid or appear weak or, dumb or something, that's a no-win game. So in personal relationships, practical stuff we're going to talk about tonight, it has to get that real. It has to get real with, now you don't have to always talk about it, but sometimes you do. So the point is, you have to be vulnerable with it. And then when the sexual energy moves in whatever way it does, the more real you can be with it, the more spontaneous. The Pleiadians one time said, when your energy rises, when the energy, wants to move sexually in you, that's for you to pay attention to. Pay attention to that. The way we have it now mostly, or a lot of it on Earth, has become unconscious sexuality, meaning Jerry Springer type stuff. He beats me. He cheats on all my girlfriends with me. He cheated with my mother on me. He cheated with my dog on me. He cheated with my sister. He cheated with everything that is female with me. And Jerry finally asks, I understand. Why don't you leave him? Because I love him. That's not conscious love. That's unconscious, addictive love. So that is a large portion currently, unconscious attraction addiction.
Obsessive addiction, yeah.
Yeah, and men the same way. You know, they'll get addicted to some image of plastic tits and fake this and that and the other. Oh, I was watching these two ladies from Amsterdam that spent their life working in the red light district. It's called Meet the, not the Fockers, but it's very similar. Meet the...
F-U.
Yeah, Meet the...
Thank you.
And there's very close to that. Just look up Meet the... I'll look it up. But these women had worked their whole life, you know, as prostitutes. And it's a little bit more accepted there, but it's still obviously severely judged. And she said they would literally sometimes just pretend that their hand was their pussy, their vagina. Okay? They would just, you know, lift one leg over the other and go, and yes, you're in, honey. You're in, honey. Okay? That's how insensitive or unconscious. I'm just using some graphic examples here to show how out of touch we are because we're afraid to hurt each other, to bring it up, you know, and all that, right? To actually get real about it. So we have to be able to get real about it, you know, and this is also going to involve emotions and surrender and the play of the female and the male, which is the surrender and allowing the male energy, the yin, the yang energies, and these occur in both bodies, both sexes. But to allow for that surrender is the trust, the allowing. And the man can surrender, for example, if men can allow some anal sex, and if they're super homophobic, obviously most of us still are, if you can allow it through your woman doing it for you, you know, it is a huge opening of the root chakra for men, the root chakra. And they actually, their sex gets activated to download 7.0 versus 2.0, okay? This is a fact. Now, it has to be done carefully because we hide a lot of sexual guilt, shame in our first chakra, which is our, you know, our anus, our rectum, and anal sex. And so this is why we're all fascinated and super judgments on it as well. The first and second chakra are the rocket fuel sexual chakras. So that's an example there for men. If you can allow, you know, my angels are like, say it. Okay, ass play.
All right.
You haven't lived till your angels are going, come on, say ass play, say ass play. As a spiritual person and a spiritual healer, worker, you know, awakener that I've been doing for a while. And I'm just a human being, but I chose this is the path I want to do this lifetime. But yeah, you haven't lived till you've worked in spiritual circles, and as you're listening to your angels, they go, say ass play, say ass play.
Oh my God.
We are slowly learning to bring God back into all parts of the body that she created and he created, and that includes our ass and our pussies and our cocks. And the C word, oh, it's so bad. The C word, if you want to know that actually the C word is from the goddess Kunti and also from ancient Germanic goddesses. And actually, the root word of it is the word for God in Swedish, G-U-D, Gud. This is a whole different story, and the word vagina actually means just simply a sword's sheath, a sword's sheath, and it only means the actual inner part. So we've been lied to again. But Germaine Greer, the very famous feminist, take it from her. Look up her video, just type in Germaine, G-E-R-M-A-I-N-E, Greer, G-R-E-E-R, and the C word, cunt, on YouTube, and watch what she does and the research she's done and why she actually feels that's a more powerful, more appropriate word. And this is a general thing. If we take the power back by getting true innocence, see, true innocence, there are no bad words, there are no bad things, like we started talking about with the dogs here. We have completely judged our first two chakras, our ass and our genitals, our cocks and pussies. We have judged as somehow dirty or, so forth. our heart and our eyes. You have such beautiful eyes, honey. So, we have to approach women. Don't even look at the breast. That's just socially unacceptable. So all this is reflected by our judgments. We are arrested development about sexuality. Now, the game itself can be fun, It's fun to go on scavenger hunts. It's fun to solve mysteries. So in a sense, you can say that our souls have created this shutdown in order to enjoy opening it back up again. Yes, that's true on one level. But it has actually become incredibly painful for many, many souls on earth, this dysfunctional sexuality and murder, literally, or just complete, we're doing hysterectomies or psychotic things like Angelina Jolie living in the fear world of I have to cut my breasts off because some geneticist says I'm going to get breast cancer. Or, the Baptist young man cutting his penis off in the parking lot at the church. We've got so much judgment, self-hatred, conflict, fear about it. And it's relatively easy to start to undo it, okay? Let me say that again. It is relatively easy to undo it, believe it or not. What it really requires is Hans Christian Andersen again, the allegory of the little boy. Look, the emperor has no clothes. When you're with your partner, that sex impulse that you're not allowed to say to them, that thing you want to say. I recently had a client, God bless her, and she grew up Catholic and then Jehovah's Witness for 30 years. Now imagine the programming, okay? And she's retired, done with raising her daughters and sons. And now she's starting to open up to her own goddesshood. And for her to play with this man that the universe brought to her, and he started talking dirty to her, okay? This is hugely shocking for her. Hugely shocking. And I was so proud that she said, now the old me would have just cut and run. I cannot handle this because of my programming. Now she's a psychic herself. She's a healer. She's actually a beautiful soul. But still these programs run very, very deep. So you have to be willing to get vulnerable. She's getting vulnerable with it. She says to the man she's doing this game with, says, that's really triggering stuff for me, Mm-hmm. And I know it's not you, and I know you've got a good heart, and I feel love with you, but that really triggers some old stuff, so you got to let me ease into that or, back off or be a little crazy for a while. There's a concrete example. He starts talking dirty to her, and she goes, oh, my God, that's just all her old spiritual, good girl, bad girl stuff starts getting activated. And so you need to proceed gently with this. Doing it in drunken states, a la, Girls Gone Wild, there's no progress. You understand? There's no progress. It's just sort of in denial. When you do denial sex, let's get drunk and black out and have sex, you really are opening yourself to denial spirits. And when we do our ayahuasca shaman, you will see these are actual entities, actual pieces of soul energies that can take on, bad forms, evil, if you will. And sex is just like a magnifying glass or adding energy. Imagine you have an electrical voltmeter or a voltage regulator that you can turn up the voltage, When you activate sex energy, it is really just sort of like opening the electro and magnetic energetics. So whatever way you do it in, if you're doing it in a drunken state and getting possessed by an aspect of your personality or theirs, you can really screw yourself up. You can get some hanger-on, some leeches, some riders, some of that stuff. But you have to, at some point, go back into these places where you have been traumatized. If you're human, you have likely had traumatic sexual experiences. Shame or actual rapes or... that has happened both to men and women. See, it's really an act of stealing energy. Even the gentle Hawaiians, like I spoke about last...
It's time to get real and heal. MyTrueEssence.net would like to tell you about Modifiland brown seaweed extract. It's composed of an elementally rich seaweed called laminaria. It takes 40 pounds of laminaria to make just 1 pound of Modifiland. There's nothing else like Modifiland. It is the richest in alginate, fucoidin, organic iodine, and lamarian. Alginates are the most effective organic element in nature that enable the body to rid itself of heavy metals, radioactive elements, and toxins. Sequoiadin is an extremely effective anti-cancer substance found abundantly in brown seaweed. Organic iodine is the greatest protection for the thyroid offered by nature. Laminarin aids in the prevention and treatment of cardiovascular disease. Go to www.mytrueessence.net and click the Modifiland banner to get started on your path to rich health today. Also check out the Healing Shop for proven essential oils, medicinal teas, and even health coaching. It's time to get real and heal. Go to www.mytrueessence.net.
Get real and heal. Listen to Christie on Soul Journeys Radio.
Yo, what's up? Check this out.
The voice of the revolution. American Freedom Radio. American Freedom Radio.
All right, welcome back, and thanks for joining us here tonight with Tobias Lars here on SoulJourneysRadio.com. We're talking about sex tips tonight here with Tobias, as he's doing it doggy style as we speak. I'm sorry, he's just wagging his doggy. I mean, playing with his doggy.
Don't listen, you guys, Benny, Miley, and Gab.
Yeah, or anyone else who happens to be streaming the show. You don't listen either. Yes.
Where'd we leave off?
We got cut off because Adam went all Lorena Bobbitt on us. We were talking too much. Yeah, and we missed the break, and then, I don't know, you started wagging your doggy again. So,
So, yes, getting vulnerable.
Good. Yes, vulnerable.
Vulnerable with being honest with these things. So we have this arrested development on sexuality on the planet, you know, and it shows up in so many different ways. So getting real with, I was using a case study of a woman I worked with recently who, she's 70 years old and she's opening up sexually. She looks very young and beautiful, and her energy is beautiful. And her partner, or a man that she's been talking, working, being with, started talking dirty to her. Now, this was a huge trigger for her, or sharing certain types of porn. And then being able to get real with this stuff and say what your reaction and your triggers are. Now, finding a partner, a soul partner that is willing to do that, you know, and if they're not willing to do it or able to do it, you'll find out. And that's okay, too. Then you know what you're dealing with. So it really has to do with, like the little boy, Uncle, the emperor has no clothes. Speak up and speak out. Not blaming. Just saying, this is what I'm feeling. This is what's getting triggered for me, you know. So it has to do with coming out, instead of hiding so much. And the more honest and real we get with it, this turns me on, I like this. And, you know, you can watch porn together or choose different things. And lots of women are like, oh, no, I don't like porn at all. You know, I don't like any of this. Well, there's something you like because there's millions of romance books being sold every year.
Yeah, that's true.
And those books involve hunky guys and interesting sexual situations. So to say that you're not interested in any of that is a lie. So, but get real with, I like this, you know, and you don't have to yak it to death. I'm not saying that. But you're going to have to get vulnerable and real with yourself first. One of the things Spirit told me, as this was, you know, happening to me when I started to open up to another level of sexuality, Spirit said, like they did tonight, they got very direct. And said, I want you to write down, first of all, to entertain, imagine, feel what turns you on. Someone once said, you know, what makes you come the hardest, that's where you should be doing it. Now, if you're doing it with shame, guilt, and I shouldn't be doing this, then you need to deal with that first. You need to handle the judgment first. If you if the judgment is there, the judgment needs to be cleared and cleaned and healed. Because doing it inside of judgment is the original sin. If you judge something as wrong and you do it, and you're doing it with sex, then you'll create more wrong. Feel that? Sex is just a magnifier, activator, adder. It just adds energy. Sex adds energy. So if you're doing it while judging yourself, you will add more self-judgment. If you're doing it while, activating your orgasm and enjoying the glow of the whole thing and the whole thing rising up to your heart or out your toes and fingertips, you'll get more of that. But so judgment is a key factor in there. So if someone starts doing something with your partner that you're like, oh my God, I've judged this as wrong, that is going to come up. Now, that's why it's important to be conscious with it. Don't be unconscious, and don't pass that line. You're going to do it some. If you're doing something you really don't want to do with your partner, it will come back to bite you in the ass, and not in a good way. Okay.
It'll be a hard bite, not a gentle little nibble.
Energy now has changed on the planet. You cannot fool yourself. You never could, but you could delay what comes around goes around, the karma, the direct, instant karma, as John Lennon called it. You could delay it more in the past. Nowadays, it's becoming more and more sort of instant, because that has to do with the upgrading of the frequencies on the planet. So being real with it. So this woman's beautiful. She's like, oh, that triggers me, as he starts showing her this type of porn. Or see, I don't even like the word porn. There's something else.
What would be a better word?
I don't know. I don't know. We need to sexual situations between consenting adults. Sometimes not consenting adults. Just coked up young girls who hate their daddies. All right. And I have some people I've worked with in the sex industry too. But yeah, there is a way that it can go denial or dark, and most of the sex industry is in that. And that's not a healthy place to do it from. So you can look exactly the same. 3 guys, 2 girls, 3 girls, 1 guy. All kinds of double penetrations, this, that, and the other, world sex, all kinds of situations full on, really sort of very strong energy. That can be absolutely holy, of moving sexual kundalini, Holy Ghost energy, or it can be absolutely satanic by suppressing and creating more shame. It can look the same on the surface, see? Water can look beautiful, pond, it can be completely toxic, or it can be completely safe for the ducks. All right? So this is what we're learning to discern, and to actually surface that, you get in touch with your feelings. I love this. Now, if I have shame about it, doesn't mean it's wrong. It means you have to deal with that programming and the shame that you have about it. Whatever triggers in you, that's wrong. I could never do that. Okay? Interesting. There's someone out there doing that, and they're not ashamed of it, and it's actually a beautiful energy generation for them. It makes them feel that beautiful afterglow and all beautiful floating off. Spirit, the power of sex is the rocket fuel of the kundalini. It is the coiled serpent at the base of the spine. It is one of the major gateways. It is the life gate in Qigong. Our judgments of it, our belief programming of it. See, if someone is having anal sex with someone and at the same time really shaming them and hurting them and making this wrong, they can literally steal soul energy from that person. They can steal a piece of energy, fragment out of that person. This happens on Earth. It's done, has been done in secret sex rituals and some not so secret. And you can do the exact same thing that is completely opening the security chakra, your root chakra, that opens into abundance. See, the reason there's not abundance for everybody on the planet, there's not freedom, there's money and bankster control and Federal Reserves, and there's hoarding and fear and lying and scheming and stealing from each other and murder about money, is because we are uptight assholes.
You think?
Yeah.
I wasn't going to say anything, but okay.
Literally. Because our root chakra has been terribly traumatized.
Yes.
When you have a life and death situation, often people lose control of their bowels. Right?
Yeah.
Or they're peeing. Right? Now feel the shame of a young boy who gets so scared by the 5 bullies that confront him after school that he pees his pants. Now this is the tender, vulnerable places that need to be healed. That young boy, and then they shame him for peeing himself, or the bedwetter child, you know? This is the shaming that goes in there that gets mixed with sexuality because it's the same organ, right? And then, you know, you scared the shit out of me, right? I mean, these are expressions. But literally, secrets like in wartime fighting, some of the soldiers, when there's first real life and death situations, they will shit themselves and pee themselves. Now, this is not usually something the military would like to talk about. You understand? Because it would make it look, you know, like we have scared soldiers, and they hold up every image they can to make sure we are the proud, fearless, and the few, you know, the Marine Corps. So, but this is a symptom of the unprocessed, the trauma, drama, and karma that is stuck in our chakras, in our root chakra. I know I'm being very direct here, but in life and death situations, I hear the music, that's what often happens. So that needs to be healed and can be healed through what the angels earlier called, you know what. All right, we'll be back.
Called you know what. You'll have to listen to the first segment if you want to know what he's talking about. But, woohoo, good thing the archive will be up about 15 minutes after the show, but it is that time. We will be right back. Stay tuned. Tobias Lars here on SoulJourneysRadio.com.
It's time to get real and heal. MyTrueEssence.net would like to tell you about Modifiland brown seaweed extract. It's composed of an elementally rich seaweed called laminaria. It takes 40 pounds of laminaria to make just 1 pound of Modifiland. There's nothing else like Modifiland. It is the richest in alginate, fucoidin, organic iodine, and lamarian. Alginates are the most effective organic element in nature that enable the body to rid itself of heavy metals, radioactive elements, and toxins. Fucoidin is an extremely effective anti-cancer substance found abundantly in brown seaweed. Organic iodine is the greatest protection for the thyroid offered by nature. Laminarin aids in the prevention and treatment of cardiovascular disease. Go to www.mytrueessence.net and click the Modifiland banner to get started on your path to rich health today. Also check out the Healing Shop for proven essential oils, medicinal teas, and even health coaching. It's time to get real and heal. Go to www.mytrueessence.net.
Get real and heal. Listen to Christie on Soul Journeys Radio.
No rules, no rules, no taboo topics, no taboo topics, no fear of doom, no fear of doom. We are American Freedom Radio. American Freedom Radio.
All right. Welcome back. Top of the second hour here tonight. Soul Journeys Radio on AmericanFreedomRadio.com. Our special guest tonight, Tobias Lars. This is so weird, doing it on a Tuesday. We are celebrating the Norse god Tyr tonight. So, anyways, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to give us a call at 218-339-8525. That's 218-339-8525. And if you would like to join us for the text chat, that's over at SoulJourneysRadio.com. The question tonight, are relationships possible? Judging by what I'm seeing all over Facebook, or maybe not, at least not right this second, we might have a little bit of healing to do, huh?
We are working our way back to you now. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So one thing that helps is to accept, okay, as a human being, I have all these programs just by virtue of being born in this cult, this culture. where I've been taught all kinds of stuff. Like I find myself walking around naked sometimes because in Sweden that's more accepted. And so as kids,
I'm naked.
We would walk around naked, and it wouldn't be that big a deal. But I know and then some cultures in Europe, in Italy or Spain or something, it would be in the Catholic countries. It tends to be, whoa, don't do that, you know. And I'm not saying one we're better or worse or anything. It's just we have issues, obviously, as humans. So it helps to go, okay, I have love, or you know, I'm interested. My sex wants to go there. Now realize you're going to get triggered. You're going to get, quote, hurt. You're going to go off. You're going to get activated. Your Jekyll and Hyde monster of, you know, I love you, I love you, I love you, I hate you, I never want to see you again, is likely going to get activated when you are delving into these deeper chambers, you know, inside yourself, these deeper energies. So being smart about it or realistic about it, it's not going to be all a bed of roses to do this. It's going to be amazing once you break through a particularly blocked area in your sexual energy. Boy, that changes. I can really feel that through my emotion, through my body. You know, the orgasm will be a lot stronger, better, or more enjoyable when you gain a victory, if you will, or if you regain some denial place. Obviously, incest and all this stuff and the tons of shame, all that is very tender areas, and this is why often the same act that was done by the, quote, denier energy or in a shameful situation or an overpowering situation, if a loving partner tries to do that same act, it triggers. It's like it will have to move that energy, that old energy, out before it can be let in, you know, or done again. So these are very tender areas with healing, emotions. Again, I use the shaming. Obviously, circumcision, you know, I mean, that's a whole other subject. That we've traumatized, terrorized, hurt physically and emotionally our sexuality. It's really quite amazing that it functions at all very well. It doesn't. I mean, let's face it, about, 10, 20 years ago, Viagra is it, right? We now are having massive sexual problems, hysterectomies, you know, the sex life force is literally dying off. The men's sperm count is the lowest in recorded history, right? And they think it's because of diet and so forth.
Blame big corporations!
Yeah. Yeah. So with partners, if you can see, here's the thing. Here are the taboos. The taboo is going to come down to here's the scenario. Here's what turns me on. Well, yes, I'm attracted to her or to him, and they're not your partner. You're starting to be able to say this and to kind of get real with what we are as humans. You know, this idea that sex needs to be shut off and you can only do it with one person for the next 50 years. It's a little crazy if you think about it.
Yeah, most people can't handle that, though. I mean, I was at my friend's house for dinner a few nights ago, and, like, the husband was saying, oh, well, if a woman ever did that to me, I would kill her. Right, and he literally, like, meant it. Like, you're my property, you're not allowed to even look at anyone else, let alone be or admit you're attracted to them.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
And then if the shoe's on the other foot, goose gander, they see, oh, you know, I'm sorry, it's what men do. That's obvious, total hypocrisy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we've got that on the planet still, you know. We've still got total hypocrisy on the planet. Okay, for one, you know, for the man in this case to have mistresses, you know, and then the woman, if she ever does it, there's full-on shooting each other. And this tends to happen in Catholic countries, to be honest with you. When I was just in Mexico and I asked the guys we were staying with, said, no, if you trespass on his wife, it's murder time.
Yeah.
Murder time. And so there's a lot of pent-up, backed-up, twisted sexual energy. So this level of judgment is very dangerous. It's Pandora's box to talk about it. But the choice is you stay in arrested development, you don't talk about it, and then all the cheating happens, on the lying side of town.
Yeah.
And then, that's in the dark. That's occult. When it's hidden, it's occult. So that mistress cheating, men affairs, and they're not all bad, by the way. See, I'm going to be shocking, provocative about that too. Sometimes the only way spirit can get you to actually leave a relationship you need to leave with is to send in a soulmate that you are so unbelievably melted with that you can't help but just join, and you have sex together, and you realize, okay, so that energy sometimes is a godsend to help relationships to get either kill them and move on, or dissolve the relationship and move on. Kill the relationship. It's a harsh word, I know. And some people are actually realizing, wow, there's articles now, oh, an affair can be good for my marriage. You know what I mean? So we know as humans that the energy is the energy. The energy wants to do, when the energy is natural and non-judged, don't worry. It is beautiful. You're not going to have rampant, fornication with everybody. The more healed people are sexually, the less promiscuous they tend to be.
Oh,
because
all right.
It's true. Because it's this, pistons of motivations in the subconscious of I can't have it, therefore I want it. Like we said last time, Johnny, you can't go in the cookie jar, therefore I have to go to the strip clubs, every night.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah, so that whole game's going on. So the first step around all that is to get real. Get real with each other and go, okay, that turns me on, that, I like, be honest with your own sexuality. Now, if you can't do it with your partner, you can do it with yourself. You have to do it with yourself first. You got to get real with it. And then explore. Like some people, when I started exploring new levels of sex for me, I didn't work for that partner. So we had to separate,
Mm-hmm.
And that's just how it was. Because I was like, I can't hold this back anymore. I can't keep it inside that, strict rule thing, or there's certain energies. See, I wasn't going out on her, but it was just the energy shifted, and she wasn't able or willing, or it wasn't right for her to go there. So it's not about right and wrong here. It's about when your energies are opening up, be real with it. I'm attracted to this. I want this. Or, I'm interested in that. Now, you can it's when there's shame along with it that you get addictions with it. You have to keep doing it over and over again until you forgive it, until you get that thing out of your system.
Yeah.
Certain fetishes and certain fixations, if you will. Fixated, fetishes. It's all healable. It's all changeable. We've been involved with all kinds of stuff sexually on the planet. So take the judgment off yourself. This is what every teacher tries to do. Jesus, and so forth, is about. Jesus' whole teaching is blanket forgiveness. You're forgiven. Forgive yourself. You've done stuff. Yeah. Who hasn't?
Yeah.
You wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be on. You wouldn't be a shut down human being if you hadn't shut yourself down. Duh.
Good point.
Right? Yeah. So if you're here and you've got some healing to do, Lucy, just accept it. I've done stuff that confused me, I wasn't ready for, or I was really into overpowering other people, or lying, scheming, whatever. Who knows? All that stuff is different mixes for each of us. But the first step is to go, okay, I'm ready to try to heal this. So, yeah. And so open that up. It gets stale otherwise with your partner, Gets stale. That doesn't mean, you get real with it, Get real with, okay, I'm being turned on here. Now, you can do it just turning it on sexually and sort of whipping the body to get it up again. I'm talking about a deeper soul. See, when you get real, like you go, okay, well, let's invite someone. Let's go to swinger parties. Let's do this. Let's buy all these toys. Let's watch porn while we fuck. Let's do this. Yeah, okay. You can do that to, quote, spice up the sex life. But that's a limited spicing up. That's titillation. Yeah. That's sort of like, that's fine too. But to have a real shift, it's like, when I shift, then everything shifts about me. I'm born again. Let yourselves become born again in your sex lives. Condoned by Jesus, by the way. He's just giving me the stamp of approval right now. Says, I second the motion.
Jesus said so.
Well, a big stamp. Let yourselves become born again in your sex lives, too. That's a whole other thing. You know, it's like, and that has to do with your soul saying, okay, I'm ready. Instead of you having to die in the body. See, the old pattern is you have to die to sort of get another shot at a different incarnation. We don't have time, and many, many, many of us are dying several times. We're living several incarnations in one right now because things are speeding up. So again, vulnerability, honesty, playful. What really turns me on, okay? And you don't have to say it with words. You can act it out with just, you know, getting your partner interested in you. See, it's not about a bunch of yak. You know, that can be like way too intellectual. Touch, this, showing, you know, but you have to get real with it. You have to be willing to risk. Otherwise, it's just, okay, we've done it this way now for, this is the 492nd time. And I'm not talking sexual positions. See, the deeper Kama Sutra is energy. Energy. What attracts you to someone is that something, it's undefinable. There's some life force energy in that person. Like the male energy tends to really love the, I'm speaking basically, as soon as I say this, people think, oh, that's what Tobias is into. Or that's not, every permutation exists. You understand? The man surrendering to the woman. The traditional role is the woman surrendering to the man in a sense. And the feminine loves that. Feminine loves sometimes take me, do this, do that. So, you know, just sort of you lead, like dancing.
Take frickin' charge, damn it.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And sometimes for men, it's incredibly liberating for the woman to do that. Mm-hmm. So reversing and playing the roles back and forth is beautiful. And ultimately we are, as male, females, you know, integrating the male-femaleness into a soul. A soul is really sexless, and, you know, or rather both sexes, both and more. So get real with what turns you on. Spirit asked me, God asked me, I know it sounds crazy to many people, said, write down your sexual fantasies. Like I said last time, they joked with me, look, you don't have enough time to live out all your stuff, so at least start writing them down.
Yeah.
Right?
Writing that romance novel.
Yeah, and it wasn't exactly romance. It was like 3-page little chapters of vignettes of certain situations. And like at the grocery store, or whatever, right? The two girls by the pool, or, you know, who knows, right? Whatever, during the day.
Show.
What?
On the radio show.
On the radio show?
I know.
Oh, there you go. I'm sure you deal with that.
I have not had sex while I am currently on the radio. Okay. But you know what? Maybe we'll have to try it.
Yes, and then we have to see if you can hold your orgasm and still be on the radio.
Probably I can. Yeah, definitely.
See, now that little titillation we're just playing with, that will activate fun and play and sex energy. And that's the way where to go, because that's the life force source. Doesn't mean you have to become a sex monster. No guilt about you if you're like, look, I'm happy with the way I'm doing sex and I have it once a week with my partner or once a month. Fine. But if there's something in you that is exploring more, then give in to that as well. You know? So allowing your own interests, what intrigues you, what's intriguing and interesting to you, what's turning you on, what is catching your attention. That's the thread for you to follow. It will change during your life, because as souls, we can play anything. So sometimes it will be this type of sex and then that type of sex, you know, sometimes just no judgment on it, just whatever's turning you on. You know, not routine stuff. Yeah. And you have to be vulnerable and honest with yourself first, you know. I found that when I went through spiritual awakenings, that I was very surprised, and this happens for a lot of spiritual people, that holy cow, my sex drive went through the ceiling. And God's like smiling, going, what did you expect? If you have more energy and more awakened energy, of course that's going to happen. But the real regulators of this, this is what we're talking about before. You can keep it in the lower chakras, like, full on, like, we're going to titillate, swing, and, do all this, invite a third partner into the relationship, and this, that, and the other. But unless you're actually opening your heart to it, or at least some fun, playful respect to it, it's a dead end. You need to open your fuller self. That's when the energies can really flow, and I hear the music.
All right. Woohoo, we're getting better at this break stuff. So, we will be right back, everyone. Stay tuned. Tobias Lars here on SoulJourneysRadio.com.
It's time to get real and heal. MyTrueEssence.net would like to tell you about Modifiland brown seaweed extract. It's composed of an elementally rich seaweed called laminaria. It takes 40 pounds of laminaria to make just 1 pound of Modifiland. There's nothing else like Modifiland. It is the richest in alginate, fucoidin, organic iodine, and lamarian. Alginates are the most effective organic element in nature that enable the body to rid itself of heavy metals, radioactive elements, and toxins. Fucoidin is an extremely effective anti-cancer substance found abundantly in brown seaweed. Organic iodine is the greatest protection for the thyroid offered by nature. Laminarin aids in the prevention and treatment of cardiovascular disease. Go to www.mytrueessence.net and click the Modifiland banner to get started on your path to rich health today. Also check out the Healing Shop for proven essential oils, medicinal teas, and even health coaching. It's time to get real and heal. Go to www.mytrueessence.net.
Get real and heal. Listen to Christie on Soul Journeys Radio.
Welcome to the world's meeting place. American.
It's practically narcotic.
Freedom.
Oh, yes. I like it very much.
Radio.
You're an American institution.
American Freedom Radio.
All right, welcome back, and thanks for joining us here tonight with Tobias Lars here on SoulJourneysRadio.com. You can go there if you would like to join us for the text chat. That's SoulJourneysRadio.com. And any questions or comments, please feel free to give us a call at 218-339-8525. That's 218-339-8525. Are real-relationships possible? That is the topic with Tobias Lars. SoulCounseling.com is the website, or CourseOfAwakening.com. And Toby One Kenobi. Wait, I left the saint part out. That's all this asplay and stuff. I get a little confused, not sure which to call you from one night to the next. Oh, man.
Isn't it time, though, if we feel the whole planet, if we feel our culture and our civilization, we've got so much pain, suffering, people in, rest homes spending their last few years as zombies, and the murder and killing we do over relationships and love triangles and the shaming. Isn't it real time that we try to get real with this and realize that it has been very difficult, but this whole separation of church and sex, it's worse than, the separation of church and state. Church and sex, it's God and somehow the Creator. So we've got to get down with it. Get into it, and get real with it. And that's
how
different.
do we do that? Let's say we find ourselves in a relationship right now. Maybe we don't know we're suffering, sexual repression or denial or whatever, but something you said maybe, set off a little light in our minds, and they're thinking, maybe I should bring this up with my partner. Like, how would we even go about doing that in a safe place?
Yep. Well, for many relationships, it's impossible, where basically if you talk to me about looking at anyone else or about any weird stuff that we're not, that isn't right, besides the way we've done sex, it's just the deal breaker. Then you have to deal with, all right, I'm okay with that, or I'm not okay with that. Getting real with the situation. If you have partners, you can talk to, can share, great. Then the first step, again, like I said, is find out what exactly turns you on. Just be interested in what turns me on, what scenarios, what ideas, what kind of, sex. Be honest with that. Now, try to imagine God in the room with you. Jesus is watching you, right? And that will show you, oh my God, I have all this shame, guilt, and, sex is not part of God.
Yeah, I mean, that could make things, shrivel up real quick in most bedrooms, right?
Exactly.
Sizzle to shrivel with one word.
Exactly. Exactly, but that is showing, imagine, so this is the part where we've cut ourselves off from the soul energy. So imagine the God Pan. Look, that energy connects you with the source of the universe, So it's just an interesting thing to start. This is how we've separated a natural sexuality from God. And so I know I'm being shocking with that one, with Jesus is watching. That reminds me of that joke, the burglar breaks into the house and he's in there for a while and he's getting all the stuff, and all of a sudden he hears a voice says, Jesus is watching you. He's like, oh my God. And walks around, somebody, and he hears it again, Jesus is watching you. And he finally turns on a light. And he says, it's a parrot. The parrot saying Jesus is watching you. And then he says out loud, what kind of an idiot would teach the parrot to say Jesus is watching you? And then the parrot goes, the same kind of idiot that would name their Rottweiler Jesus.
That's a good name, I think.
I like it too. Settle down. My own little Rottweilers in the form of golden retrievers. I know I'm triggering that, but that's on the spirit. If you want real soul energy mixed with the sex energy, at some point you have to clear up the religious BS and get real with who Jesus, Krishna, Babaji, Yogananda, you, Mataji, Kuan Yin, Mother Mary, who they really are. Saint Teresa. Of course they included sexuality. That statue by Bernini, or I think it's Bernini, in Rome, where Saint Teresa is getting pierced by the lance of Saint Michael.
Ooh, sounds fun.
And it's called the ecstasy of Saint Teresa. Now, of course, they have to do the angel as he's actually got a actual spear, lance. But the reality, of course, is that's an allegory. So we've got to get real with this. If we want a better planet, if you want the animals not to get run over by cars, if you don't want Alzheimer's, autism, if you don't want, Lou Gehrig's disease, if you don't want MS, if you don't want diabetes, if you actually want energy back on the planet, you got to go to where the source of the energy is. And guess what? God, in all her wisdom and his wisdom, placed it in the right place. Never mind that you've judged it. So you've got to start getting real with it. Meaning, okay, masturbate. If you've never masturbated, you need to try it. There's a lot of people out there that still haven't done it. If you've done it only a certain way, the impulse will tell you, okay, I'm going to try this with my partner. You may fail miserably. Or, you may end up laughing at each other. So what? That's to become ye as little children with it. You understand? And or if you are playing, I had a client a while ago who was totally into serious S&M and full on, like not as partners but as strangers, like they didn't live together or anything. They were just temporary S&M partners. And she was very, very well aware that this had to do with reptilian demonic energy. Not all reptilians are bad, by the way. And that this had to do with soul control. But she was going in after this old experience in her with conscious awareness of, I'm reclaiming this energy. It can get very, very interesting, very, very enjoyable, very, very scary, very, very terrifying. But the other way is stalemates. You've gone stale, and you are just going to spend the next 20, 30 years of your life slowly dying. That's your choice. I'm just being real here now. You can keep it can be fresh forever and ever, new. I die daily. I'm born again every day. Energy is not destroyed. Energy is forever and ever. Amen. Energy lasts forever. You can live in that place. Now it's going to change some in cycles for you, and the current aging program we've put in on Earth is actually, we're very surprised. There are many people that are 70s, 80s, they're full-on sexual energy. So that programming is the sex energy does not have to die. And there's people in their 30s and 40s who are like, man, I'm just, I'm kind of not that interested. And so finding the sexual fountain of youth by finding what actually turns you on is the first step of exploration. Share that with your partner. Let the chips fly where they may.
And run fast.
An approach. Or, if you have to decide. If that's absolutely a taboo subject, we can't even broach any of that. It has to be just, and you're happy with that, that's awesome. Just leave it to be. If you're happy with it, if you're not happy with it, you've got to allow that to surface. You've got to allow it to surface.
Well, Tobias, let's go a step further. Some people will think that it's very shallow to, how could you leave your partner? I mean, so the sex sucks, but you have 30 years together, and you raise these beautiful children, and you built a business together, or have a home together, and, a lot of people would say, just deal with it. You can't have everything. So,
sure.
what do you do? It's like, no, don't bring any vibrators into the bedroom because, my ego won't allow it. It scares me. Or, no, we can't do anything other than missionary style because that's what my mommy taught me in the Bible Belt, or, any of these scenarios that's, it's kind of a big, difficult situation for people to be involved in, don't you think?
Of course. And I'm not saying to leave your spouse for sexual, gratification. I'm saying get more real with yourself if you want to open this Pandora's box. The choice is, if you want to keep it safe or, unsafe, then guaranteed death and slow, stalemating and so forth. I've made that choice. I can't deal with that right now. I really can't open up to it. Okay, just make a conscious choice like that. That's fine. And that sometimes is the right situation. But if you go, okay.
Yeah, sorry.
If there's something in you that just is like, no, I feel throttled, contained, suffocated, suppressed, then you can start by I did that with a partner, and I said, look, this is where my sexual energy is going. I just started doing it, not saying it. You don't have to say it. You don't have to talk about it. You just go there. And she didn't want to go there. I understand that. Everyone has to have choice, and the programs will come up. And you can also talk about it and say, look, I feel our sex life is kind of dying and slowing down, and here's what I'm attracted to this. I find myself doing this or looking at porn on the internet or whatever, and I don't want to hide anything, and you can be part of it or not, or just bring the subject on the table, and you can do that by just something simple as this. You've been married 30 years, you raised the kids. I love you, honey, and you love each other. And you say, look, you can do it as a simple little joke, like you watch something on TV or somewhere, and it's like they're joking about the sex life, and you can say, not as a barb at them, but you can say, yeah, I used to remember what sex was. Wait, I've heard about it. That could be an opening if your sex life has died. You see what I'm saying? It could be done without naming anyone. You can do it with your partner and go, yeah, me too. I used to remember what that was like. Oh, wait, I have a dim memory. There was something that used to happen. Right? And that can be sardonic, kind of a little bit cynical, fun play. That could open it. And then one of
numbers. Sorry.
And so there's many 1,000 ways. You can just say to the impulse of life, help broach the subject for me. Help me surface this subject. I don't know how to do it. You can ask the universe, God, source, your own higher self, if you want to. Now be prepared for that some stuff might hit the fan or not. It could be like, well, I've been feeling the same thing. Well, let's do this. Okay. I don't know. There's many. You can ask God. You can be on your knees and ask God to reinvigorate our sex life, if it's what you want. If you're happy with the way it is, then leave it that way. You know. So I'm not saying there's nothing about you have to run off and leave partners and things like that. Joy just showed up. I haven't seen her for 2 weeks.
Hi, Joy. Hey, Joy, we're talking about your sex life.
You missed it, I guess. Can I squeeze your boobs for a second? She said, sure. She said it very nicely. Yeah, exactly. See, the dogs they're all excited now. So it can be playful, you know? It can be very innocent in a way. And it's about if you have love for each other, then you can, like I said, you can do it jokingly and playful. And if you feel real sadness about that you can't do that, then that's a sadness that you need to go through as well. You need to face the sadness. Many of us have layers of sadness, but it's like face it, feel it, free it. No. Now the dogs are all excited because Mommy showed up, so you might hear some barking here in a second.
Yeah, and you have to go back to the first season for the fourth F, because Tobias is in good behavior now. The first season.
Yes, that's good. We've done this for 4 seasons, haven't we?
Seasons.
TV program. So love underneath it.
Sex is supposed to be like one of the cornerstones or the hallmark of a great relationship, yet most people in relationships, they don't even talk about it. They can't talk about it. They won't talk about it.
Yeah. And you have to honor that too. And it's terrifying. The next step is always terrifying.
Well,
and, you know, because you're breaking through a whole new paradigm, a whole new level of, so you can ask God source to say, okay, help me bring this subject up. And that doesn't mean you have to yak about it. You can bring it up energetically or whatever, or jokingly like I just said.
Yeah, you go squeeze your wife's boob. It's that time.
It's time to get real and heal. MyTrueEssence.net would like to tell you about Modifiland brown seaweed extract. It's composed of an elementally rich seaweed called laminaria. It takes 40 pounds of laminaria to make just 1 pound of Modifiland. There's nothing else like Modifiland. It is the richest in alginate, fucoidin, organic iodine, and lamarian. Alginates are the most effective organic element in nature that enable the body to rid itself of heavy metals, radioactive elements, and toxins. Fucoidin is an extremely effective anti-cancer substance found abundantly in brown seaweed. Organic iodine is the greatest protection for the thyroid offered by nature. Laminarin aids in the prevention and treatment of cardiovascular disease. Go to www.mytrueessence.net and click the Modifiland banner to get started on your path to rich health today. Also check out the Healing Shop for proven essential oils, medicinal teas, and even health coaching. It's time to get real and heal. Go to www.mytrueessence.net.
Get real and heal. Listen to Christie on Soul Journeys Radio.
News and information you can trust. This is American Freedom Radio. Freedom, American Freedom Radio. American Freedom Radio.
Welcome back. Oh my gosh. Thanks for joining us here tonight. Last segment with St. Toby, one Kenobi here tonight. Man, why is it that when we talk about sex, it seems like the shows are only 3 minutes long?
Because it's like whenever you pay attention really well, things go very fast. When you're interested, things go, it's like time speeds up. You get more focused or something, yeah. So I want to feel, my heart is feeling just the love for us as humans. We've had so much trouble with this, and there's a real chance and a real hope now that this is shifting. Men are going to have to come off their position of, hiding themselves, and women are going to have to come out of their position of hiding what they really feel. Both of us, both the male and the female, are going to have to get a little bit more real with it, And this means you'll know when it's real because the energy will move. And you're going to become naked. You're going to become psychically, feel this, psychically naked with it. Psychically naked with it. Because the creator of the universe the gateways into oneness, you can't fool Mother Nature. You can't mock Source, Father, God. There's no way. So you becoming psychically naked means confess your sins one unto the other. I'm just quoting Bible stuff here too, because of our current culture. It's still very biblical in the West. And it's the same thing as the other. Present yourself to the other, the mirror effect. Be transparent, be open. Doesn't mean you tell everything. Mystery in play is fun, but it has to do with the intention of feeling safe with the other, and feeling safe with yourself. So start exploring, okay, what actually moves my sexual energy? What turns me on? It's going to break all the social programming, okay? Lots of older women now are finding themselves interested in younger men. And, yeah. And so that's part of that social balancing, instead of women always having to be with older men. And the same for the men. The men actually, I can actually enjoy older women, And there's going to be a much more choice, options. And so all your fantasies and interests opening are going to be allowed to play out. Be honest. Talk about it. Share it. Not in rebelliousness, not in anger. Not like in porn star anger, I hate the world, and so I'm going to show how stupid the man or the woman is, I'm going to dominate women because I hate them, porn star energy, or I'm going to show that I'm as strong sexually as men. This anger getting back at the battle of the sexes is, like we said in the beginning, a war of attrition, meaning we all end up damaged and handicapped, Post-traumatic stress disorder is really true. In the war of the sexes, most humans are post-traumatic stress disorder of not trusting men or not trusting women. And so that rage is down there. That rage and hurt and grief is there. That's what has to be healed. You have to deal with that if you want the fountains to flow again. If you want the rains to come, you got to open the heart, The Hopis know this. You got to open the dance and the respect and the enjoyment and the allowing and the sympathetic magic from Mother Nature, and then the rains come. If you want it to rain, if you want to be a rainmaker, let it rain, and not at the strip club with your little $1 bills. You want real rain. I'm, calling out some of the guys. If you want real rain, you got to open your soul energies. That's going to be real rain. And it will open your hips and your first and second chakra into a whole nother level of energy as well. And like the angels suggested, Elvis the Pelvis, right? Saint Elvis was here early on a big level trying to get our hearts and the throat chakra, the singing voice that he had, mixed with the sexual energy, because we're meant to become the full spectrum humans, So when the energy... so allow. You can just say that to the universe. Okay, open. I'm ready for a growth. Like in my energy to change, my patterns, my belief systems to enter a new phase, a new paradigm. Do it through me. Do it for me. And what you're attracted to. Be willing to fail. Be willing to be silly. Yesterday at the grocery store, there was these two ladies there, and I was being silly. I just went. Their cart was in the way, and so I went like, bumper cars, yeah! Right? I didn't actually do it, bump into her cart because she might have upset. But it didn't go over. Like these women were like, you're scaring us, and I'm like, that's funny now to me. It's like that was funny, right? And whatever. It was a mother and her daughter, but they were a little older too. But I was just having fun. So you can have fun with spontaneous impulse. And then start being willing to fail. Like this client I was talking about, her and her partner now, they're just exploring, and him talking dirty to her. That was a big leap for her. And then for her to share some of the energy she has with him is going to be a big leap for him. See? This is trust that the universe, you can ask directly, God, source, the universe, send me a partner soulmate if you want opening into new paradigms, new evolutions of lovemaking and fucking and sex, ask for it. Now, if you're happy with where it's at, that's fine. Stay where you're at. You know, there's no push here that anyone has to do anything except find out what you really want. That's why I keep stressing and suggesting what do I really want? How would I like it to be? You know, and if you've stopped asking yourself that, then you're getting what by default what your subconscious is ordering from the universe. Now, also, let's be realistic. As I'm talking about loosening the tight strictures and bonds of suppressed or organized religion, sexuality. See, we have organized religion. Yeah, we have also organized sex on this planet. They're equally dead. Organized religion is just as dead as organized sex. So, you know, let's be real. Marriage and cheating is still the norm on this planet that we're suppressed and unconscious of it. Accept that. Hello, my name is Tobias. I'm a victim of organized sexuality on the planet. Yes, admit that and realize that overnight you're not just all of a sudden be open and totally healed and completely free sexually. That's not going to happen overnight. But if we really want to change the planet, we have to let sex do what it's originally meant to do, which is a natural expression of life force aligned with the whole rest of the chakras, instead of this in jail organized sexuality that we've had. Just like spirituality is breaking free from organized religion, organized sex is going to break free from organized or controlled sex.
Prison sexuality.
Yeah. Who likes prison sex? Not many people. So
sex, monkey sex. Oh, never mind. Sorry. Chat room discussion.
Squanky pig sex. Sure.
Okay, Tobias, we have 2 more minutes to talk about sex, so let's hear your best jokes now.
I've horrible jokes. They're horrible. They're horrible. No, I can't tell those on the air. They're terrible. Well, one's kind of funny. It has to do with you know, the current, how sex is finally being exposed in the church. So there's a lawyer, a doctor, and a priest, and they're all big brothers. And they take the boys that they are, you know, mentoring, they take them out on a picnic every year or a big camping trip. This year they happen to be on a lake. Part of it is they're on a lake. So one of the trips they go out on the boat and they're in the middle of the lake. Doctor, lawyer, priest, and the boat springs a leak, middle of the lake. They're about a mile from shore. They're going to have to swim. The doctor, there's only 3 life vests. The doctor says, well, we'll have to put the vests on the boys, and us adults will just have to, you know, make a go for it. So let's give the vest to the boys. And the lawyer goes, fuck the boys. And the priest goes, you think we have time?
Oh, my God.
So, yeah, there you go.
Your jokes suck.
No. Horrible, but very truthful.
Oh, man.
The lawyer and the priest are shown up for who they are. So just like we're exposing all these rigid structures that have been on spirituality, the suppression of spirituality, true spirituality, sexuality will go just like a teeter-totter along with that as well. Start getting real with what really turns you on. Try to communicate it to the universe, to yourself first, to the universe, ask for help, and ask for a partner that you can do that with. If you're schizophrenic with your sexuality and you're hiding it and shaming it, it's going to get increasingly difficult to keep that going. So I know, God bless us all. I mean, really, this is a huge task. And again, you know, if you're Swedish, you know what that means. This is a huge task for humanity to wake up from. But we are. I'm so encouraged. 70-year-old client opening up to being talked dirty to. They're awesome. Blessings.
Grandma!
Yeah, way to go.
Awesome. Well, Toby, yeah, you hear the music. We're going to get cut off here. I don't know. Do you think this topic deserves another week?
Let's feel it through. Maybe so. Let's see. Maybe part 3.
send us some emails. Let us know what you want next time. But it is that time. We have got to go. Happy Tuesday. We will see you tomorrow night with Guy Needler here on SoulJourneysRadio.com.
It's time to get real and heal. MyTrueEssence.net would like to tell you about Modifiland brown seaweed extract. It's composed of an elementally rich seaweed called laminaria. It takes 40 pounds of laminaria to make just 1 pound of Modifiland. There's nothing else like Modifiland. It is the richest in alginate, fucoidin, organic iodine, and lamarian. Alginates are the most effective organic element in nature that enable the body to rid itself of heavy metals, radioactive elements, and toxins. Fucoidin is an extremely effective anti-cancer substance found abundantly in brown seaweed. Organic iodine is the greatest protection for the thyroid offered by nature. Laminarin aids in the prevention and treatment of cardiovascular disease. Go to www.mytrueessence.net and click the Modifiland banner to get started on your path to rich health today. Also check out the Healing Shop for proven essential oils, medicinal teas, and even health coaching. It's time to get real and heal. Go to www.mytrueessence.net.
Get real and heal. Listen to Christie on Soul Journeys Radio.
You're listening to the future of talk. American Freedom Radio. This is American Freedom Radio.